Hi everyone and welcome to the Remain Indoors podcast, where we look at some of the lighter news from around the internet, have a grumble when required, that's always, and talk about the ways we're keeping ourselves entertained at home. Remain indoors. And me and Matt will bring on an interesting friend from our radio and podcast network, or whoever's available, but it is always me and Matt. Two rumpets. How's it going there, Matt?
Well, I'd say we are here after a lengthy stint yesterday in the saddle.
Let's see if I can get the live chat room to pop up on my browser. No, I can't. That's a disaster. I'm sitting here because we do this on video as well. I'm always trying to think of the audio and the video together. And I had a button mapped that brings up the live chat room. Who are the people, frankly, Matt, who have made us keep coming back at 2 p.m. on a Tuesday, Monday, and Thursday?
Yes, they are indeed. And Adam and Tom and John and our favorite Mr. Phil with 4 nines after his name are already at it.
Why is he?
We have an Australian listener who's not named Bruce. Can you believe it?
No, they change. You're being culturally insensitive. So I'm your host, Richard Spanners Ready. And basically, when Australians come to parts of Europe or interact with Europeans, they know we find the fact that they're all called Bruce confusing. So they give themselves an anglicized name. That's what he's doing. And I think you should respect that.
Fair enough. I thought some of them were called Shrimp and Barbie too. By the way, I stole that from yesterday's chat, just so please don't hold me personally responsible.
All right, I mean, it's definitely racist, but we'll let it slide. John Pollard says, I'm surprised you guys have the energy after yesterday's podcast. Not a Remain Indoors podcast, but it was a Missed Apex F1, and we had a bit of a mammoth show with two of our biggest guests. I would say, arguably, definitely, the most experienced F1 journalist ever, Joe Sayward. And then we had a guy who was actually, the team boss. He was in charge of Lotus F1. And the thing is, I was trying to keep it to an hour, believe it or not, Matt. That was still my aim last night, was to keep it to an hour. But have we got to the point where it's become so sort of well-known among our listeners that I try to keep to these strict timings, that even the boss of an ex-F1 team was aware of this, and I heavily suspect, was doing it on purpose, was trolling me on my own show to see how long he could make it go.
I was enjoying every second because I just kept on thinking, oh, you think I'm so bad? Just look at this guy. Look at this guy.
Yeah, and I think he was definitely enjoying that, and I kept trying to go, right, let's wrap this up, and he'd come up with another several questions for Joe Sayward. It was fantastic. Go and check it out, Missed Apex Podcast. The show itself was 2 hours, and the thing is, the longer we go on the recording, the longer like the edit and the post-production is, and then on top of all that, I had a wonderful technical problem. The site we used to upload our podcasts to changed their login system. So they just changed the whole software around how it does it, and they changed the criteria. So it says, oh well, you can have any password, or you can say it must be 5 letters or more, or it must have a number or a letter. They changed that over a weekend. And then no one was around to answer it until 1 a.m. when a guy in Australia picked it up to help me, because our old password didn't fit their new criteria.
I think it's hilarious that they would change their password criteria and, I'm assuming, fail to notify their users that said change was occurring. And they would manage to time it for the weekend of one of the biggest shows we've ever managed to put on.
It was super unlucky, but it's an international company. They're a very, very good firm, Acast. They've always looked after us. But I don't know how they thought I would know that. So you and me are like going, well, I can't get in. Well, I can't get in either. And after a few attempts, it goes, well, you're locked. And you go, we're locked. It's a Swedish-based company. What do we do? Luckily, one of their support guys was in Australia. So there I am at 1 o'clock in the morning in my kitchen crying. I'm like, we've done this amazing show and I've worked so hard and I can't get it out. An hour of back and forth emails and he manages to upload it for me. So that's good. But that's why I'm tired and grumpy today. And it's not just the fact that I had to mark 160 times table and division questions from my daughter, who's like, Daddy, can you just mark my maths? I'm like, okay, I can mark the maths for you. I got through 20 sheets. I went 20 out of 20. Well done. She's like, here's the next one. And then she just kept going. And in the end, it was 160 hang on, this is more times table. 160 questions, and by the end, I was like, I'm bored of times table. It's like a test for me.
Okay. If you would like to compare the size of school assignments, my daughter finally completed her assignment on the Cold War. Do you know how many words she wrote on that for her AP history class?
17.
About 22,000. And even at that, we spent all of yesterday going over her answers and finding new research and rewriting everything. She was so filled with anxiety about doing a good job on it. And while I'm delighted she's committed to getting good grades, I'm like, how am I going to beat some perspective into her? Because, oh my, it just took over our family for the entire week.
Yeah,
2
that's
weeks,
not
3 weeks? I don't know. I don't even know anymore.
That doesn't sound sustainable. I would be very tempted to call that her problem. Look, sweetheart, love you. I wish you the best, but you're making your problems our problems, and I'm not down with that. You're super old now. Good luck.
Yes. Well, just wait till your little daughter gets to trig and calculus, my friend. It only gets better.
And they both reminded me that yesterday I put up a lot of big talk about taking them all on a family run this morning. And I've just noticed that in the chat room is Lauren Thomas from girlrunninglate.com. And I was like, oh no, don't confess that you didn't go on the run you were planning to go on. But Lauren is going to join us tomorrow as well. And she has an amazing injury story at home. Don't get injured in the lockdown. It's bad, okay? Put yourself in a padded room, which is where today's guest spends most of his time. It's Alex Jeansy Van Gene. How's it going, Alex?
It's going all right. Thanks for having me back on.
Oh, it's okay. Do you know what? You're always good value for content, Alex. And you and I, we were talking the other day, and I think, I'm not telling tales on you to say that it is tough being at home with little ones, and the little ones are even harder than the ones my age, which are sort of medium-sized kids. And I really sense that, maybe you don't have as many parent friends as you would want to be able to whinge to. And, I really sense like, I should give Alex a call, and I should let him just vent at me. And then I thought, no. If I do it on the podcast, I get content out of it as well.
Yeah, no, I don't really. I mean, I'm 36 and all my mates are around my age, but a lot of my friends are either just married. I got a couple of mates who are still single at this age and haven't got kids. So I haven't got that many friends. My closest mates don't have kids. So if I'm having a bad time, which during this apocalypse that we've got going on at the moment, it's really difficult to sit and chat. And we did. And we had a lovely chat the other day where I could just kind of vent a little bit about stresses and things that are going on, because I do love my children. I adore them. They've been so good during this lockdown. They listen. They've been eating dinner. They've been sitting down when they need to. The youngest one has been going for her naps because she's just turned 2, which is a terrible age for this. And they've been doing everything they need to do. We've been going out for walks and they're walking properly 97% of the time. The other 3% of the time, I want to defenestrate them.
What does that mean?
Now, defenestrate, the actual definition of defenestrate is to throw someone out of a window. I learned this one years ago, and it's brilliant. We, instead of getting angry at the kids, we just tell me and Lauren just tell each other that we want to defenestrate the kids, because then the kids have no idea what we're talking about. But yeah, it's difficult, and when you haven't got a group of dads around you who can relate, it's really difficult. I've basically got you, Spanners, and my dad and my brother. Apart from that, I haven't got many mates with kids.
Well, this brings up for me memories of when my daughter was that age. I don't know, how are they doing with limited outside time? Because for us, our daughter was super bouncy and active, and if we did not get her outside for 5 to 8 hours a day, she would just go mad cooped up in the house. How are you managing that? And are your kids doing okay with that?
Luckily, we're all right. We've got a decent sized garden, so the kids can play around in there. There's now 2 slides because Isla got a slide for her birthday. There's a slide and there's a deck, and it's nice, and we've got a sunny spot, so it's all right. So having that one walk a day actually works out quite well. But to be fair, I can sit those two down with Lego, and they just are happy to do so.
So my boy, the oldest one, Treeface, he is like you say, Matt. He's like a puppy that you've got to go out and walk him. It's like we need to walk the Treeface, otherwise he's just like causing chaos. So just before I came in, my wife has been working all morning. We're handing over. She came into the house as my two children had each had pillowcases on. Like on their legs, so they were wearing pillowcases. I don't know how it happened. I said, what are you doing? They're halfway up the staircase, and they said, we are scaling Mount Stairsarus. Yeah, and they were treating it like a big adventure. There was like an Arctic wind coming down. Like one of them was like slowly falling down the stairs going, no. So they've created this. This is what happens when you don't walk the Treeface. They end up doing mountaineering up our half and half staircase. So yeah, they can go like a little stir crazy. But Alex, you're in a strange position. The same position I think my brother-in-law finds himself in, which is that his wife is a midwife, key worker, so still working a full shift, and like your wife's working as well at the moment. So he's found himself from full-time carpenter and business runner, foreman. He is now the full-time childcare, and he is not a very education-y guy. I'm trying to make it not sound like I'm calling him thick. I'm not. He's not thick, but he doesn't know that they're those magic sticks. He doesn't understand why it marks the wood pulp at one end. He's like that, and he's always like when he's reading, he puts his finger under the word he's reading. Absolute nightmare when it's subtitles on a movie because he goes right up to the screen and he puts his finger under the subtitles, and then he eats beans with his hands as well, so it just smears bean juice all across the TV. Anyway, sorry, big diversion. But his life has changed to the point where he is now the primary carer and educator. And I think like you're taking on a lot of that as well at home.
A little bit. Lauren, I've been fully furloughed, so I'm off the road. My whole job is me based on the road, going out seeing clients. So for me to be cooped up is bad enough. And with my relative things that are wrong with me, being cooped up in the house doesn't work very well for me. But when it comes to the kids, Lauren is still working, but she's working up here where I'm sat now, is where she works, and she does it for about half a day, 3/4 of a day, or whatever needs doing. So she's still around, so it's not quite as bad as that, but it does mean I take all the morning stuff. So I get them when they're hangry and tired and all they want to do is eat and watch television. And we're now starting to cull how much television we're letting them eat, letting them watch. I'm thinking about food. I haven't had any lunch.
Ask your doctor if eating televisions is right for you.
So for example, when it comes to telly for the kids, we were realizing that they were watching telly when we were downstairs. They were watching telly while they were eating, and the little one just sits there with a fork in her hand like this and stares. I'm like, I'll eat, and she's like, oh, and then she takes a mouthful of food. We've now taken the telly away from the TV, and we just play the music, and now they eat, which is great.
I thought the whole point of TV is for them to sit there just like this for as long as you want.
And just stare at them. We have been using the TV tactically. So whilst they are allowed to watch TV in the mornings, because that is a big shut up. It's like, guys, mummy and daddy, we do not want to get up at 7 every morning, and they'll live without us. So we don't have to be there to make sure that they don't, fall over and hurt themselves. We don't particularly have to feed them breakfast. They can handle that. So if we want to stay in until 8:30, we can. Obviously, Alex, you can't do that, but that's because your children are terrible and tiny. But we can do that, and Matt can certainly do that if he wants to. But Matt is so old; he's like up at 4 a.m. anyway. He's like, "Oh, you're missing the best part of the day." That's Matt. That's you, Matt.
Yeah, sure, whatever. Actually, I'm oftentimes going to bed because I'm still trying to fit in my whole illicit TV watching.
We'll get to
one
that.
show.
Go on.
Okay. I have to have one show that I watch that nobody else watches, because everybody has to have that now in the age of streaming and series and binging, right?
Yes, I don't currently have it. At the moment, actually, we're really TV poor. So I will get people to send us some TV recommendations, because all we have at the moment is Westworld, and I discovered one recently called Future Man, which looked like it was going to be really bad. It's the terrible actor from Hunger Games, the friend-zoned one, Josh something something. So I thought, oh well, this is going to be lame. It turns out it's like directed by Seth Rogen. All the actors are like proper comedy actors, and I've just been creasing myself watching it. So Future Man, and there's like 3 series of it, and we're only about 6 in. Future Man. What was your one, Alex?
Well, for me, I don't get to binge watch, because during the day, if the telly's on, it's School of Raws, which has got who is Perry in Kevin and Perry, the Harry Enfield sketch.
The guy who's now a UKIP
the girl,
supporter.
the lady.
Oh, I can't remember.
Played as a guy.
Yeah.
Someone will say it in the thing. But yeah, so she's on that, which is really weird hearing her do a kids program. So during the day, we don't get any of that. And then at night, we have dinner. We watch either Young Sheldon or Brooklyn Nine-Nine, which was last night, or recorded. So we watched that last night. And then by 9 o'clock, my wife falls asleep on the sofa, which is when I then turn to gaming.
Ah, yes, which we will come on to. Yeah, just to wrap up then, talking about putting kids in front of the TV. The shut-ups in the morning, they're allowed to watch a couple of things in the morning, and then you've still got that movie option. So I think, like, if you're not going to kill your kids if they watch one movie a day, and certainly, a few times a week. So that is when the wife and I, we can tell we're getting irritated with the kids, and then we start getting irritated with each other. Then one of us can pull the nuclear option of movie. And you're like, movie. Say to the kids, movie. They're like, yay. And it solves everything. It's like the big nuclear option.
What time do your kids go to bed?
Oh, I don't know. By 8. By 8, they've got to be tucked up.
Oh, okay.
And at least reading a book.
Yeah, see, this is the movie issue. The movie thing is an issue in my house as well, because the wife falls asleep. It's like we have to be starting to watch the movie at 7:30, or she won't finish watching it. I can never watch The Wolf of Wall Street. I've seen it in the cinema, and I've seen it once at home. It took us 2 days, but I can't watch it. I can never watch it in one sitting because I don't have the time. It's ridiculous. It drives me nuts, because I'd watch movies all the time otherwise.
Yeah, I dream of the days that my child went to bed at like 8 or 9. Now she goes to bed between 11 and 12, which makes my illicit single series watching really, really painful on mornings like this. But you already have an early sleeping wife there, Alex?
Yeah, she generally falls asleep. She wakes up really early, like sometimes between 5 and 5:30. So she doesn't get out of bed. She just stays in bed. But she's normally asleep by 9, 9:30. It suits me down to the ground. I'd never get any gaming done if she was the type of person that stayed up till 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. So I'm thankful for it. I'm never going to complain.
It's only going to get worse.
Yeah, we've noticed, like, the boy, even at 9, 8 o'clock, he's a good lad. He goes to bed. He does read for a bit. There's no way he is ready to sit and go to sleep at 8 o'clock like a little kid. So, all of a sudden you go, a lot of the adult time is going to be, if this was Dad Hub, this conversation would be going a different way. But that's going to eat into a lot of, like, adult time. So we do have to make it clear, like, look, you're upstairs at 8 o'clock. The grown-ups are watching a movie now. If you come at us with any problems, you're unlikely to get a caring response. It's not going to be, oh, sweetheart, you are restless? Come here, tell me your problems. What's on your mind? No, it's not going to be that. It's going to be bed. It's bed. Deal with your own crap. Like, it's you're 9 years old, okay? If you've got some kind of fear that apparently could not be solved at 6 p.m. And now at 9 p.m. that's the only... No, you can wait. You can wait till the morning. Monsters aren't real. Life is finite. And that grown-ups lie sometimes. Go to bed. Bye. So that's that. I'll tell you what, before we go and ask Alex a bit more about his projects at home, there's an engineering project in the Van Gene house. I saw you building a thing. Definitely want to talk about that. I want to talk about, though, who is doing the shopping in your household? Who is the getter of resources, Matt? I'm assuming it's you that goes and braves the apocalyptic streets to gain resources and proteins from the sea.
We flip-flop back and forth. The wife does the cooking. So on our grocery store travels, because we both agreed that the fewer people who go in the store, the better it is. So on our last trip to the grocery store, she actually went into the store and did the shopping. Previous trip I did. But for all the little things that you need that you don't go to the store for, but you just go to like the little corner store, we call them bodegas here. I do all of that, and generally I do the trips to the liquor store as well.
You call them bodegas. That's interesting. We call them corner item holder stalls. That's what we call them.
This fits with my general understanding of British culture, where we would have a yield sign and you would have a sign that said, "Please give way to the other motorist approaching."
That's exactly what the sign says. The font size is difficult, but it does get the information across clearly. Yes, but I've busted the wife. I've busted Nicola because so she does all the shopping, not because not because I'm lazy, but because I think she has needed it as an outlet and the trip out. It's our only real trip out at the moment. So she's kind of gone, right, I'll do it. Alex, you have some objection?
No objection. It's very similar. But it's for both of us. So it's a case of, right, who's had the most SH1T at the moment, who deserves to leave the house to go and get away from the terrible children.
It's an honour, isn't it?
So I went to Costco the other day, picked up some stuff, picked up a new deck chair, brought it home. It was broken. Lauren was thrilled because she got to go to Costco. And I just said, go for it. She had a bad night. I said, just go for as long as you want and come back when you want to. I wondered if I'd ever see her again, but luckily she came back.
Well, that was one of the things that you and I were discussing, was how hard it is just to make sure that you've got space as parents, that one of you has space. And in a lot of houses, it's a case of, well, lock yourself away in the bedroom for a bit. That's not really fun. But yeah, the shopping, I mean, we've got the shed, which is a big help because my wife can lock herself away here. In fact, I've not seen my wife all day because I was still asleep from our recording last night. She got up early, went to the shed to work. By the time I got up, the kids were doing their homework. So much better when they're older, Alex. So much better when they're older. They were already into all their schoolwork. And then she's come out the shed just as I've come back in. But it's important to have that little bit of space, which you would normally have had. And the shopping trip has kind of become that. But I've busted her, Matt, because when I've called for, we might be running out of a thing, or perhaps we're short of beer, we're restricting ourselves to just the one trip out to the supermarket. We don't stop anywhere else. We don't go to an off license. We don't go and pick up a spare gazebo or anything like that. We're just getting the food and booze that we need. She's gone, no, and it's fine. All the resources is fine. We don't need, I'm out of pot noodles. And she's like, no, that's not enough for me to go to the store. It is a wine-based calendar. That is what I figured out. When she is down to a single bottle of wine that has already been opened, she'll suddenly go, I think we should do the big shop tomorrow morning, and I'm going to go and do it tomorrow morning. And I'm like, it seems random. It seemed random when she was going, but that's what it is, Matt. She is looking at her wine supplies, and that is when she goes.
I would 100% believe that to be true.
But it's so it makes sense that she goes. However, I have no say in what we get because she doesn't listen to me anyway. When I went on our one apocalypse shopping trip, I've only done one. I spent the whole time on the phone to her. So when you go to the supermarket, when you go to the supermarket and they don't have that one thing that she asked for, and you phone up and you say, well, what do I do? They haven't got that one thing. And then she would say, well, actually, the reason we had the phone calls now is because she used to say when I got home, she would say, well, did you look for it? Okay, yes, I looked for it. What a really useful comment. Did I look for it? No, I just assumed it wasn't there.
I had to go get Laura when I went to do one of the big shops. I had to go and Lauren wanted contact lens solution, and I walked up and down the cosmetics aisles about 4 times looking for it before I dared phone to go, I really can't find it, because then she'd go, are you looking in the right place? I've looked in all the cosmetics places. It's not there.
I have been in a supermarket before, and Adam Rosales says, is that what you were about to point to, Matt? FaceTime to prove I've looked. So we went through that stage. I went through photograph stage. So I take a photo and I send her the photo of the whole shelf, and it's high definition enough, isn't it, that you can zoom in. So she can zoom around the shelves, and I'll get a message back going, oh, well, what about the shelf over to the left? It's like, no, the shelf over to the left is bread. And she's like, take a photo. I'm like, fine. Fine, here's a photo of bread when that isn't what you were after at all.
We get accused of doing man looking, don't we? Because there's a big difference between man looking and woman looking.
Yep.
And apparently we don't look enough. Sometimes that's really true.
Um,
Where's the thing? I can't find the thing. Oh, it's right in front of me.
And the other thing I get told is, well, did you ask? Right? And it's like, no, I don't want to ask, because they always say the same thing. They go, if it's on the shelf, we've got it. If it's not on the shelf, it's not out yet. And that is not good enough for the wife. So we'll ask them to go and check in the back. And I've done it loads of times and gone, oh, I am duty bound to ask you to go and check in the back for this item. And they disappear for an amount of time and they come back and they say, sorry, sir, we do not have that item. So two things are happening here. A, they don't ever want to satisfy that request, because then it will become a known thing that you ask the person, they go to the special place in the back and bring it out, and it ruins their whole system. So they've got no incentive to do it, but they're not going to say that. So I think they just go into the back, play angry Flappy Bird or whatever, send a text, come back, say, sorry, sir, there's no what's it. And I think that's what they do. And one time I got a voice note and I said to the guy, can you say on the voice note, we don't have this item? And he laughed and he did, and he said it, and I sent the voice note to my wife. But yeah, so that's normal. That's non-apocalypse shopping. But when I went to the store, there was nothing. They had none of the first choice of anything. This was quite early on when there was loads of shortages. So I spent the whole time on the phone to her. So it does kind of render it a little bit pointless, me going. So she goes, she gets her time away. But when she comes home, it's like a treasure chest. It's like, what did we get? Because I have no way to get stuff. I'm not nipping to the garage on the way home and picking up beer. I'm not, sneaking a bottle of whiskey from the offie. So I literally am at her mercy. And I did a little jig because she brought home a can of sugar-free soft drink in cans, which she never normally buys for me because she says it's a waste of money, but we all know it tastes better out of the can. I actually found myself doing a little jig and going, woohoo, she got me cans.
Here's one that I'll be interested to know. How do you collate what you need? So do you just, if you've got a thing on the fridge that you write down, what do you do? Because I've got a really good system. I want to hear what you do first.
Okay, we've got the worst system ever because my wife will not see sense on this. I'm like, why don't we just have a shared Google Drive list, right, where we both have it on our phone, and then you can just tap on it like me and Matt do with show notes and stuff and ideas, and you just bring that up, and then you can put what you need, and then it's there when you go shopping. It's there on your phone.
I'm going to change your life.
Okay, and wait. She won't do it. She won't do any of those technological solutions. She said, why would you do that when we have a whiteboard on the fridge and we can just write on the whiteboard on the fridge what it is we need? And then before she goes shopping, she looks at the whiteboard, remembers the things that are there, and goes shopping based on that, which is a ridiculous system.
Let me change your world. So before we got on the call, I realized that you have I can't say it because there's one in the room. And Alexa.
Well, you've just said it. You just said you can't say it, and then you said it.
I didn't hear that.
You just said it off, and now everyone's at home as well. You just said it again.
So, just to shut her up.
What's the other one? Okay, Google.
So the app that we've got is called AnyList. And when you want a item to add to the list, all you do, because have you got in your kitchen?
Alexa, is that what you're saying? Yes, we have. We've got it in every room. That's just woken mine up in the shed as well.
Exactly. That's why I'm saying. All you say is add such and such to my shopping list, and it pings it to your phone.
Nice.
We do that all the time with everything. It literally builds our shopping list.
She won't do it.
Never have to write a list.
She won't do it. She thinks that the whiteboard system is perfect, and why would you ever need to
She's
do
wrong.
anything
You
different?
need to tell her you're wrong. You tell everybody else they're wrong. Why can't you tell your wife you're wrong?
Okay, I tell everybody else they're wrong to
wrong.
vent for the complete lack of power I have in my relationship. And as I've said to you many times, if I could live my life again, I would marry a much less attractive woman who was perhaps, grateful for being with me and not like, hey, dude, you're lucky to be here.
It would not have worked like that in any event. And my comment for Gingy is like, you are married, right? You do understand how this game works.
I do, but luckily my wife is a techie person. Let's put it this way. I was trying to put YouTube on my desktop on my computer before, and I wanted to change the icon from a Google logo to the YouTube logo. I had no idea how to do it. Within seconds, Lauren just gone done. Luckily, I've got a techie wife, so she's brilliant.
2 princess-related things coming up, but first, you, Matt, were reading about a real-life princess / hero.
True, I was. I know that we here in the States are well known for not having any kind of royal family at all, despite certain people's pretensions to the contrary.
What, you don't have a royal family? How do you know what to do? What do they do? I don't know what they do.
I don't know what they do either, but as a vestigial exercise in medieval authority, I have to take my hat off to Princess Sophia of Sweden, who has gone and gotten training and is now working in a hospital, working in healthcare, doing things that also include care of patients and cleaning.
Right.
And I'm just going to say, if you're going to have a royal family, they ought to be doing stuff like this right now.
That's amazing. So hang on, it's Princess Sophia of
Sweden.
I saw that article. I skimmed it. I thought she was already some kind of medical worker in a previous guise, or she'd studied it. No, she actually went out of her way to learn a new thing so that she could go and volunteer and be in hospitals.
Yeah, I don't know if it was specific training for this crisis and she had a previous background or not, but I do know that the article said she had to go through training in order to be able to do this.
That's amazing. And from what I've heard as well, doing quite menial stuff. So it's not like she's not like the surgeon, like putting her hands on people's hearts and saying, stat and get me 10 cc's of Hypocalm now. It's like, the stuff like, cleaning around. Hypocalm, you've never heard of that, Alex. You could do with 10 cc's of Hypocalm occasionally.
I think we all could these days.
No, that's really good. And I hope that she is actually putting a shift in and that it's not just a gesture, but from all accounts, it is real. I could get political on this because I've getting a bit upset about some celebrities. They're getting a lot of kudos by going, look at the amazing thing I'm doing to raise money for such and such a thing. That's fine. All that is great. And that works for me better when it's some unknown cause. Like, let's raise awareness of this illness that people don't know, but it affects a lot of people's lives. I can see there where the promotion is better than the money as such. Get a social consciousness, let it enter the social consciousness. But when it's COVID-19 and we all know what that is, and you're a big celebrity, I don't think you need to do an event or count 1 million steps and get people to pay you. You're a multi-millionaire. Just go, and even if you want to show off about it, like, don't involve me. Don't make me text a number or something. Just go, I'm giving £4 million to this local charity to go and do specific things.
I think that is the correct attitude to have, especially when so many people can't work right now.
Yeah, just don't make me text a number. Don't make me do a thing. Just tell me first up how many millions you're giving. If you're, I'm not going to name a celebrity, but there are pop stars out there sitting on millions of quid. You don't have to do a something-a-thon. Just bung a load of cash down. You don't even, right? That cash will even get to the charity, even if you don't tell anyone you did it, which is an interesting statistic that I don't know if they're aware of. Your castle, though, Jeansy, your princess, is much better. You've been building loads of Lego stuff and got everyone to rate your castle on Twitter. So we don't need to ask how your lockdown's going.
Luckily, as I said, they don't necessarily need the television. They can be entertained by Lego. And my daughter loves Lego, and the little ones getting into it as well. But she said to me, Daddy, I want you to build me a castle. I'm like, okay, we build nothing but houses and just tall single towers that touch the ceiling. Let's build a castle. And I was really proud of it. I really enjoyed building it. And then I put it on Twitter and asked to rate my castle. And then somebody on Twitter said, I don't think that will survive a attack from a Lego trebuchet. And I was like,
Ooh. Challenge
accepted. So I filmed myself taking a Lego brick, and I threw a Lego brick at it, and it was fine. I then took a little very light wooden piece of cake from my daughter's little kitchen, and I lobbed that at it, and it didn't break.
Nice.
And then I had a big round solid wooden ball. I lobbed that at it. It broke one of the towers, but everything still stayed intact. They actually kept that for 3 days, and they never keep anything Lego made for 3 days. And then this morning, I've made them breakfast. I'm just in the other room. And Phoebe's built herself a tower. The first tower she actually built herself, and she built a platform like I told her how to, and then gone high with it. And I said, "Oh, so what's that?" She goes, "That's my Eiffel Tower." And I'm like,
Nice.
in my head, I'm like, "How do you know what the Eiffel Tower is?"
How old is she?
She said to me, "I heard it on Peppa Pig." I said, "Do you know what it is?" And she goes, "No." I said, and I showed her a picture of the Eiffel Tower in France and told her a little bit about the Eiffel Tower. I said, "Should we make a proper one?" And we made.
Wait a minute. So, Alex, you said to your darling child, like, "Oh, my sweetheart, look what you have done. You have created this thing, but shall we do it actually well?" That's not good for her morale.
No, but she was like, should we do a proper one? She goes, "Yeah, let's do that." And I was actually quite impressed with what I built. She arranged the colours. I wouldn't let her build because it was mine. And then I knocked it over. But there is a picture of it on Twitter, at Alex Van Gene. If you want to go and see it, you can go and rate my town. You can go and rate my Eiffel Tower.
Okay,
and I think I'm going to try and build a bigger one as well.
I'm going to look it up now because I know, Alex, you've been hunting followers as your 1,000 gets closer. 868. You're getting there, creeping towards it. And if I look at the tower now, I can see the real Eiffel Tower on the right. And actually, that's not bad. I was getting ready to mock your tiny children's efforts. But no, I'm not going to. That actually looks pretty decent. The colours are wrong. Technically
I don't have
incorrect.
any grey.
And that's not Lego, that's Duplo.
It is Duplo. Yeah.
So there you go.
It's because I've still got a 2-year-old and she can't deal with the Lego. For the Lego, I've actually got proper Lego for Phoebe, but that stays in a bag. One of these cool bags that opens up as a map.
Yeah.
And then you close it all up.
Brilliant. Bruce Wayne says, "Rate my Eiffel Tower doesn't seem very PG." Oh dear. Do we have to put an explicit tag on this now? My kid's a little bit older into the Lego. The girly is into all the girly one it's called Lego Friends, and they all look identical. So she's got like 4 sets of them. They're all the same, which is some kind of building and then an ice cream stand, and they're all going down little slides and stuff.
The problem with Lego sets is I want to play. And all the really cool Lego sets, like, I mean, I'm not even a Star Wars fan, but I want to build the Millennium Falcon. But it's £600. You know, you got the Bugatti Veyron, which is like 300 quid. They're bonkers money.
Is that the one that actually runs? They built a Lego
I've seen a
Bugatti that
Technics
actually
one. I haven't
runs.
seen one with a battery in it.
No, with an engine in it.
Maybe that's the future of car technology. But yeah, the girlie's got the girlie. My young, lovely daughter has the Lego Friends one, and she made them a swimming pool. And so Alex was saying, you know, the temptation is you want to play. She made a swimming pool with a slide for her Lego Friends characters and said, "Daddy, can I fill it with water? Can I put a plastic bag inside it so that it can be like a real swimming pool?" And I went, "No, that's so stupid. Actually, no, that sounds really cool. Will cling film work?" And then we had to have Operation Sneak the Cling Film out of the kitchen because there's no way that Mum was going to approve of us wasting cling film on a Lego swimming pool. And the swimming pool was like 30 centimetres by about 15 centimetres. So a substantial size swimming pool. Snuck in, got the cling film, and it worked really well. So we put it along you might want to try this at home with your kids. We put it along the floor and over the sides and then built another layer that kept the cling film on, filled it up with water, and it was a really cool little swimming pool. So that worked.
That's an awesome idea. I love that. I'm not going to try that with my kids, but that's an awesome idea.
How did getting rid of the water afterwards go?
We put it outside. I've made this kind of horrible mistake before because at least the weather is nice. At least the weather is nice at the moment. A couple of days ago we had a really rainy day, and I said to the kids, "Hey, kids, since it's a rainy day, why don't we stay indoors today and do some indoors activities?" Thinking I was hilarious because, of course, we've done a million indoors activities. They literally booed me. They booed me because they saw that I was making a terrible joke and they didn't like it and they thought it was a little bit too on the nose. But my boy, he's got the Lego Technics. He took 2 of the sets and he said, "I know what I'm going to do. I've finished playing with these 2 sets. I'm going to dismantle them, put the pieces together and build like a mega machine. And I could see it in his head. He thought he was basically going to build Johnny Five from Short Circuit, and when he finished, he was going to go, Master Treeface, why did you create me? That kind of thing. But he didn't. He started trying to build the base, realized that without the instructions, it's just random Lego, and now it is just a pile of Lego in his room, a pile of quite expensive Lego, I presume, which he will never ever bother separating and rebuilding again.
Yup, that is the way of all children.
They're terrible. Right, let's talk about grown-up toys in a bit, Alex.
Let's go for it.
All right, let's round this off. Because you, Alex, have been like an excited bunny for about 2 weeks right now, right? Basically, you had a bit of FOMO. Is it fair to say you had a bit of FOMO? Because me and Matt and all the other Missed Apex crew were really throwing ourselves in the lockdown into iRacing and our little iRacing series that we've had. But it was PC only. Now, me and Matt only have the facilities to do that because, A, we have the computers for doing all this kind of stuff. Otherwise, I would never have a PC for gaming. But it just happens to have a video card. And a listener gave me a steering wheel. Just gave me a steering wheel. He was just like, right, I'm not going to use the steering wheel anymore. Can't really be bothered to shift it. Do you want to meet for a coffee at Bulldog Services? And I thought, all right, this could be a bit murdery, but I'll take the risk for a free steering wheel. And it was just a really nice bloke called Darren, who was a fan of the show. And he was like, oh, no, you can have that, mate. And I was like, oh, wow. So it was like a Logitech G29, Alex, which is still a pretty decent steering wheel. And then, Matt, you're using VR goggles that was also supplied by a kind listener of Missed Apex as well. We've done all right out of this show, haven't we?
We indeed have, and I still love my developer kits. I don't even have a Rift. I have the oldest and least resolvey and most screen doory of them all, but it is still fantastic, and I am using them well to this day.
So pretty much all the crew was involved in our iRacing community, and I have to say, we've had like 50 people. I think we've had total drivers from the Missed Apex listenership. I think we've had 70 people get on board and race in our various series. And we're all sat there on the Discord as well. It's been great fun. We've had loads of practice nights. I would say too many practice nights for Mrs. Spanners' taste. And I definitely had a talking to, perhaps, to scale back the amount of practices. However, that's been like a real community. It's been more than a hobby. It's been, this is where I'm kind of going to de-stress. This is my supermarket trip. This is my locking myself away. And everyone was involved in the crew. We had a live commentator. Our video guy was doing a live broadcast of it. And 2 people called Chris from the crew were doing the comms. The only people not to do it were Alex and Kyle, because you were PlayStation 4 people. And I could really feel how left out you guys felt.
Yeah, I mean, I've been gaming, racing with other people since 2011, since BRKC started up, which is a karting series that I'm involved in. And we'd always just raced on, it started on Xbox and it was on Wednesday nights, and then it moved to PlayStations and it moved to Monday nights, and I do an F1 league, and we used to do Project Cars. But I have a fold-away seat, same one you've got, Spanners, that sits in front of my telly in my lounge. And I'm quite easily distracted. I don't know if you've ever noticed that.
No.
And so I find one screen never quite enough because, oh, something's going on over there. Oh, I've crashed, which used to happen a lot. So I was always like, if I want a PC, I want to do it properly. But I never really had the money to do it properly because it isn't inexpensive. But I was going to get a new helmet done for my karting. But with the apocalypse going on, I'm not really going to get much karting done this year. So I binned that off, and the money I'd been put away for that, I decided to spend on a high-end gaming PC that arrived on Saturday, and I got the Rift S VR. And as a lifelong gamer, it has changed my gaming world.
Oh, absolutely. VR is amazing. I have to say, though, Alex, I have never intimately known the details of somebody else's order delivery status of something I didn't order myself as I have with your PC. And I bet that the 2 weeks waiting time in this time, Normally you're at work or whatever and you don't think about it again. But I think it's fair to say you've been thinking about it every day. Like, it's going to come, it's going to come.
Well, the good thing was me and Kyle spent 3 days looking at this particular website, building the PC that we wanted. He's got a couple of tech friends, friend of the show, Michael Weddle. He helped us as well because he's not
a friend of the show. Don't you allocate friends of the show? He's not a friend.
That's a brilliant accent. That's
I know.
perfect.
That's exactly
that
how
defines all Scottish people. Well
okay,
done.
I'm Michael Weddle, and I race mini race cars, and I'm amazing. That's who I sing.
I know he's listening. He asked for a shout out, so brilliant. Thanks,
And
Mike.
he
You'll
got
love
one.
that, Weddle. I'm expecting a text message any second.
I did that exact same. He's a race driver friend of ours, but I did that exact same impression of him on a live stream that went out on Motors TV, so on Motorsport TV. And it's like taken quite seriously, the British Rental Car Championship. But as soon as Weddle was on the race, I was like the second commentator. As soon as I couldn't help it, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, look at me. Well. I had fun.
So we both, on the same night, within about 10 minutes, ordered the exact same PC. And the problem was he ordered his in black, I ordered mine in white, which is what caused the problem. So we got 2.5 week delivery lead times. He got his delivery information before I got mine, and then I waited 2 more days. It turns out they didn't have my case in stock, and I had to wait longer. But,
okay, so I want to say you have perfectly illustrated what my life has been like knowing you for the last 2 weeks. So these are all Matt,
it gets better.
Matt,
he
has so badly misjudged how much I want to know about his PC case. Like, that is the worst. He's really got that wrong.
Sorry, Matt. I have to share, otherwise I explode, or I'll just tell my wife and she'll kill me.
I would wake up 386 WhatsApp messages. I'm like, oh goodness, they're talking about vegetables in the chat again. No, these are all just updates from Alex that nobody even replies to.
So
there might be some truth to that.
So obviously you got your PC for the iRacing, you got the VR headset, because VR for racing is unbelievable. I've been telling you this for quite a while now. I would never go back to a monitor again. It feels like you're in the car, and that's the closest I'm ever going to get to being a race car driver, and I'll take it. It's fine. I can feel the weight of the track and the tires through the steering wheel. I can look around me in my fake cockpit. That's fine. That's as close as I'm ever going to get, and I'm happy.
That, for me, my first ever drive using the VR was in our practice session on Saturday night. That was literally the first time I got in and used the VR. And I just spent lots of time just looking around, just because I could, which was great. But also, I can't remember who it was on, but I pulled a move around the outside of Brooklands. And I mean properly around the outside that I never would have done using a single screen. But because I could see the person there, I could pull it off. It was still risky. It was a practice session, so why not? I think it was Clappers, because I think Clappers then brake tested me a couple of laps later.
Yes, I'm sure, quite by accident, and his reputation remains intact. But
no, he meant it. He said it in Slack.
But I forget totally that it is VR, and people talk about how you don't take risks because it's only virtual reality. I only get snapped back into that when Bradley used me as a launch ramp because he thought it would be funny, and I was like, oh my god, I need to. Oh no, hang on, no, it's not real. It's fine, it's not real. And he launched over the top of me, and I thought, well, that would have killed both of us. But there was one time I was driving around, and it was in the MX-5s, which is a road car adapted for racing. I finished the race. I was so into it. I drove all the way round to the pits, and as we pulled out, I reached for the door handle to try and get out. I was that immersed in it, Matt.
It's astonishing. And my favorite is when I get launched by somebody and flip multiple times, and then when I wind up upside down, my entire display blinks out. But Simon in the chat would like to ask, don't you get sick in VR?
No, I don't get sick I did when I used the headset that you've got, Matt. It was like lower quality, and it doesn't quite match up. And when things go wrong with the sensors, it can make you go fuzzy. So we've recently we had 2 sensors before, but we then moved to 3 sensors all around for some of the games, and it doesn't do the thing where it loses you for a second. When it loses you for a second, it can make you feel a little bit sick. But I think as the quality improves, it is just down to the quality of your setup. So I think a good setup, all the people who were saying I can't use VR because it makes me sick, I think that problem will go away. So no, I don't at the moment suffer any sickness from it at all. It's been really fantastic. But what I was going to say, Jeansy, was away from the racing, you've been trying some of the other games straight away as well.
Yeah, so there's a game called Super Hot, and it's VR in VR. And you're in a room, it's all white, and you get red figures coming towards you. And it's a bit like being Neo in the Matrix while also trying to solve puzzles, but with guns. And it is such an immersive experience. I've been absolutely obsessing over it. It's brilliant.
So I just need to chuck this in here because we're talking about very specific things. We're talking to people who like to race simulations online and the best gear for that. However, my wife would not be interested in this conversation. My daughter plays Minecraft. She plays video games. I play a little video games. I love to sim race. My wife has never gotten on with any of these things ever until I took her to a virtual reality pub where you do just play the games, and she played Super Hot, and she became instantly addicted. So if you were looking for a way to convince your partner
No,
that they should indeed be on board with us, this astonishing purchase, have them try Super Hot, and you've got at least a 50% chance of, well, I hate to use the words getting away with it because that sounds like you're trying to get away with something, but I think that's really the best way to put it at this point.
anything to get around the fun police.
I got Lauren to have a go on Super Hot yesterday, and she got scared at first because things came rushing at her, and she didn't like that. But once we got her into it, she was like, "Oh, this is quite cool." But then, have you got to the level where you all of a sudden get your superpower, where you can shoot a beam at your hands? She got there, and we didn't know what to do, and then she got bored, and now she won't try it again. So I dragged her in at the wrong time.
It is alarming at first. So, firstly, Mrs. Spanners, she put it on her head once, and it's the introduction level where there's a little robot in a caravan, and it just teaches you how to use the controls. She put it on once, and she was suddenly in this world with a caravan, and then she took it off, and she just went, no. She went, no way. I went, go on, try it. She went, no. And she will not put it back on, because she's like, no, it takes you into a different world, and that is, we're not. I'm like, that's the point of it. But she was absolutely like, she just noped out straight away and said, I'm not doing it. But
That's that.
yeah, that's that. But the boy, he loves it now. But when we first tried it with him, I let him play a game called Killer Bunnies from Mars, and it's really cartoon kind of violence. Little bunnies bounce towards you, and you have to kind of shoot them. But when they get within a certain range, they turn from fluffy bunnies to like these killer monsters, and they crowd around you. And he picked up the VR headset and just threw it, like in a panic. And I was like, no, don't throw the head. But he was like, I need to get this off my head. I'm like, dude, you can literally just close your eyes and it goes away, or you can just put it down on the ground. So he's learned his lesson. He's learned his lesson from that. I have to say, we do happen to be talking about the top end of VR. I've gone to the VR centers. There's one in Milton Keynes where you can get like the Vive experience. We're all on Oculus Rifts that have to go into PCs with high-end game cards, but you don't need to do that to get VR experiences. So I was just going to run through, Matt, some of the other options.
Well, Clappers in the chat says you need a game where the kids behave and do as they're told, but don't your kids play a game where they do exactly that in the virtual world and then ignore it completely in the real world?
Right, okay, so there's Job Simulator, where they have to do the kind of tasks that I have asked them to do all the time and they won't do it. And they go, okay, fine, it's Job Simulator, it's fun. But there's a free one called Rec Room, and it has loads of different activities. You're in a dorm, and then you can go and play paintball, which, by the way, that's what I'm addicted to, a free paintball game on a kid's social app. It's amazing. It really feels like paintball. But then they have a dorm room, and in the dorm room, you have like all stuff. So you have like a can and mugs and everything. I saw her tidying her room in this virtual world, and like when something went on the floor, she was like, oh no, that's on the floor, I need to pick that up and put it down. I'm like, why is that so important in the virtual world, but you will never tidy your room when I ask you?
Because children are
Terrible.
Bingo.
What were you pointing at your phone at, Jeansy? That that never works on VC when someone says, oh, "Look at this thing! Or look at this really bright."
It was just
thing.
me letting you know I've made a note of Rec Room and I've written that down. I'm going to have a look at that later.
It's good fun.
But I mean, the thing about VR was I spent about an hour last night just in the Oculus Home thing, moving screens around and playing around with the little house that you get in it.
Mark Greenow asks, "Is Rec Room okay for kids?" You open a junior account for them, so when they're under 13, I think it blocks certain features, so random people can't come up and talk to them. They can send each other messages, but only presets like "thanks for helping" or "come play this game in this room." They can't send any other messages. So far, I found it to be very appropriate for kids, and it's been really good. And then in the grown-up mode, you can do it a little bit more. But just run through. Obviously, we're talking about the top end. PlayStation VR is something that's recently come about, and I've spoken to some of our Slack group people who have said that it's good. It's a good experience, but the graphics are just not as good. So they've had to scale everything down to make it work on the PlayStation. So that's an option. Before we had this PC set up, we had loads of fun with the Gear VR, and we picked it up on eBay for about 35 quid. And it's one that you put your smartphone into. So I don't know if there's an Apple equivalent, but you slot your phone is the VR screen. You strap that to your head, and you can use an Xbox controller or little controllers on the side. And that's enough for the VR experiences like roller coaster or watch a 3D movie or something like that.
The other one it's about the same price as the Rift S headset, so about £400, is the Rift Quest. The Rift Quest, you don't need a PC. So it's a contained unit. It's basically the same headset as the Rift S, but you don't need a PC and you can just play games and it all just downloads into it.
So that's still quite up at the high end as well. And my son already is like, when are they going to get rid of the wires? I'm like, yeah, okay, we're a little way away from that. He wants like a battery pack strapped to his head. Is it already available? Not commercially, is it?
I think I think there is a model or two that comes without wires or needing to be directly connected to your PC.
Ooh.
But I haven't, I read the article a while ago and my memory's, less than perfect, shall we say, if I haven't recently done the research.
And then at the very bottom end is Google Cardboard, which was actually our first foray into VR. And I thought that was super cool. It's the same as the Gear VR that I described, except instead of putting your phone into a set plastic thing with the eyepieces, it's made out of cardboard. And I think you can order it literally for a few quid and then slot your phone into it and do certain stuff. It doesn't fit as well. It's not as good. But it's definitely worth trying. And I've seen enough of this technology now to know that this is definitely the future, and that Ready Player One, I don't think any of that was too unrealistic. The moving around is a problem, obviously, for now, but we set it up. Normally it's in the shed, but we brought it out into the living room when I was able to convince the Fun Police to let us do it, and we had like a 6 meter square area, and it was amazing. I was playing the paintball, and I could be behind a barrier, and then I could move 2 meters to my right and up, and then pop up, shoot someone with the paintball, and then duck down and behind and hide and be moving either side of like this barrel. And it's an incredible experience, and it's only going to get better.
Yeah, that's great. You've got that massive space. My limitation is I've got about 2 meters, but there's the edge of the sofa and there's other bits and pieces in the way, so can't quite get the movement you can. But with a big room, that's amazing.
And obviously they set up a Guardian system, which is great for the kids. So you set the boundaries that you're allowed to go in, and when the kids overcome those boundaries, they get like a red wall that comes up to say, no, you're about to knock into the TV.
I think an electric shock collar would be more fun.
Yeah, it would be, but it is very much frowned upon. Guys, thank you for this very fun episode of Remain Indoors. We're always going to go down little tangents and rat holes, and I think the thing with this show is if we find a thread and we're enjoying talking about it, we're gonna do that. And it's not like a specialist show where, oh, come here for F1 and we're going to talk about F1. Come here for golf. We're going to talk about golf and or fishing. It will be a hangout with hopefully some interesting people and sometimes Jeansy. And that accountant guy, what's his name? I've forgotten his name. Why not come on the show and talk about accounting?
I was thinking about this earlier. It's like when you've had girl running late, and you've had your doctor friend on, and then I was coming on. I'm like, I'm not a specialist. I was thinking to myself, I'm probably equal to, or a little bit better than Nick. But a little bit better, a little bit worse than Nick. So that's kind of where I put myself. So at least
yeah.
you'll still have us on.
So I think
We love
I'm
Nick.
splitting it. This is my plan. Look, this is good to do a bit of. This is always good, Matt, isn't it? People like it when we do admin and planning live on the live streams. My thinking is when we have a specialist in an area, we will ask them about their speciality. And like with Liam, with the music, with Andrew, Dr. Holding, and the science, we can pick specific parts of their trade and drill down. When we've got, mugs who don't know anything, like Alex or Kyle or something like that. Oh, in fact, we should get Kyle on this, shouldn't we?
Yes,
How have we not got
should.
Kyle Power on
We
this?
were going to.
He had tooth surgery. That's why we didn't do it.
I thought you were calling it gout.
Yeah, no, right, okay. So he missed a couple.
Same thing.
He missed Apex. He missed a BBC interview that I was doing with him, and one of these because of the tooth surgery. And so I apologised for his absence on the Formula One show by telling everyone he had gout from overindulging with too much port, red wine, and proteins from the sea. He pretended to find that funny. I don't think he did. I don't think he did find it funny. So I said it more. But yeah, no, Carl's an interesting guy. We'll have loads of engineering to talk about, so he should be on our list too.
And John Pollard in the chat brings up our other show, Apex TV.
Well, right. So we did Apex TV and we were covering Picard and stuff. We finished that. I have not started a new project on that. I know you suggested it, but at the moment, like we're already getting on the internet 4 times a week and recording shows. So I would have to think that through to say, do we want to do a 5th one? And I'm enjoying growing this at the moment, and people are tuning in. People are downloading it. People are joining us on the stream. The stream numbers are going up every time. Unfortunately, it does come down to people downloading it. So do tell your friends. We're okay. We're doing all right in the iTunes charts. We're making a bit of progress up there. So if you could leave us a review on iTunes, Remain Indoors, that would be super duper good. And we'd really appreciate that. So at the moment, I think we've missed Apex, radio stuff, and this. I've currently got my hands full. But just going back to what I was saying with the guest, Matt, when we've got a specialist on, we'll go into their speciality. When we've got crew, like Missed Apex and stuff like that, or Tony from Dad Hub of Dad Hub fame, or Dan or something like that, then we'll just use that as full on just complaining about everything in our lives. And then we'll have our subject matter experts as well. And that is a good enough working plan, I reckon, Matt.
I likes it.
Good. Everyone likes admin, right? Everyone likes listening to our admin. I'm sure they do. Catch up with Alex at Alex Van Gene on Twitter. That's where he wants you to follow him. You can be my friend on Facebook, Richard Reddy. Search for Richard Reddy on Facebook, or at Spanners Reddy on Twitter. And Matt is on at MattPT55. I've done it again, Matt. I don't need to do that. I did a pre-record that I put in at the end of every show. So I don't know why I've done that. Oh, well.
The more you say it, the more people sign up.
Oh, maybe. So this is what I'll do from now on. I'll say, follow our guest at Alex Van Gene. We have been the Remain Indoors podcast. Work hard. Be kind. Have fun. But above all, remain indoors. I needed one more thing to make that work, didn't I? I needed one more post beat. So work hard, be kind, have fun. Don't eat things past their sell-by date unless you've checked it and you reckon it is okay. Like the egg that my wife has had in a mug for 2 weeks.
Stop licking doorknobs.
Let's try that again. Just try again. So guys, remember to work hard, be kind, have fun, stop licking doorknobs, respect sell-by dates. No, it's not happening. I'm just gonna.
You're gonna have to write them down.
I need to write them down. Yeah, it's true. That's how the pros do it. And now I fade out, and now comes the pre-recorded bit I did at the end, which gives the credit for this. Do you know? I'm spoiling the pre-record bit. I'm just gonna let it go. Good. That's the audio. That's the audio in the can. Oh, why? I do write my outros down. You know, when I'm on the FM on the radio, when the last song is playing, I write down what I'm going to say on the outro. At least I do it in bullet points to make sure I don't waffle like a moron whilst I'm doing the outro. Because you only get one shot. When you know there's a chance you could edit things out, you're less careful.
Yeah. You don't have to worry about it because you can do it more than once.
Yeah, or I can do it more than once, make loads of mistakes, and just put it out on the podcast because I really don't want to edit this. I don't want to go down the editing path. But I am going to have to edit out the Van Gene stuff because Van Gene failed to get across to Mrs. Van Gene that it's super... I demand to be a priority. I know you've got children and jobs and career. No! Nothing else matters when you're in the remain indoors bubble, Van Gene.
To be fair, when we do Missed Apex and I do it in the lounge with a green screen, there's never ever a problem. The time I do it in the bedroom is I think she needed something.
Oh,
so
no.
she had to go off and do whatever she was going to do without whatever it was.
She can come in and get it.
But the problem was she came in at the exact point you were asking a question. So I've done this and I've completely missed the question. So I'm completely blaming my wife.
Then you started answering it on mute, which was great. And then you unmuted it. And then you were like, what's the question?
It flapped me. it definitely threw me off.
It does happen, though. It happens, you get in a flap and you go, oh, no, that's terrible. And I have it a lot with broadcasting where I fluffed. And I have to continue with the rest of the thing I'm saying, but on the inside, all my brain's going, you moron. Who do you think you are? Why are you continuing to talk after that error? That was a career-ending error. Now everybody heard. Everyone knows what you've known all along, which is that you can't really talk and you have no business being here. And then on the outside, it's like, but do stay tuned for the guests that we've got coming up.
You just go down an error cul-de-sac and you just don't know how to get yourself out of it until you have someone like you who just slams you over the head and makes you feel worse. That's great. Can I answer a question from the chat earlier with regards to VR? Somebody asked me how I managed to get a VR headset. I was so lucky. Kyle ordered his a week before mine on scan and has just been told it's not coming to the 12th of May now. I ordered mine on Amazon when it was out of stock. They gave me an update, said it was going to be next week or this week, and it all of a sudden turned up early. I'm really, really lucky because Amazon aren't even selling them anymore. So if you haven't got one now and you can't get one, you're going to be stuffed for a while, I think.
Well, I mean, that's a good end to the segment where we've been talking about it. Hey, if you have enjoyed listening to us talk about how much we're enjoying VR, unlucky because there isn't any and there never will be again. Good. All right, good. Let's get out of here. Thank you very much. Live stream. I'm going to do that. Get rid of them. I'm going to get rid of the... Oh, God, look at that. Now it's just me on screen. I'm like, everything about me looks terrible. It's ill-fitting shirt, my hair. Look at my trying to be Matt Trumpets. These are the wrong headphones. I forgot I should not... Let's get rid of me off screen. Then look at that. Let's look at the pretty graphics that Steve did and say, over now. Do mute it. Bye.